Hello, I'm Felicity Hannah. Welcome to Business Daily from the BBC. Now, how do you make $1 million before you turn 30? In our new series, we're speaking to 6 entrepreneurs who've managed exactly that.
As long as you keep going, there's hope. At some point in 2017, we had nothing, like no product, no investor, no money, but we kept going. Failure is actually only failure when you stop.
Today, it's the founder and CEO of Student Hub, Hertzy Kabeya. Find out how he made his first $1 million and what he's learned along the way. So Hertzy Kabeya, founder and CEO of the Student Hub. Hello.
Hi.
Thank you very much for joining us. Now, your story is fascinating. Different countries, different businesses. I wanted to know what skills you've particularly brought to that. So what's your superpower?
Well, I must say that a superpower, I'll say, is really linked to the fact that, I really know the reason why I exist, right? And then I actually stick to my lane, right? So I'm here to solve complex social problems using technology and business. And so as long as I do that, I think I'm quite successful wherever I go.
That's a better superpower than being able to leap tall buildings, isn't it? That's genuinely useful.
Correct.
Okay, so you were an entrepreneur from a very young age. I want to hear about the chickens.
Oh, the chickens. Okay, cool. So I'll go back to, the very beginning. That's my first business venture, right? So when I grew up in the Congo, right, in Kinshasa, and when I was about 14, I think, right? So we started to receive these, bottled milk, from coming from South Africa, actually, funny enough, where I'm today, so it was bottled milk, and we were used to powder milk. Right. So when we started to see bottled milk like coming already in liquid form, it was quite interesting, for me to see that. And I thought that if we could also do the same, with eggs, it would be really, really convenient for people, put them in these bottled and then give it to people with other ingredients in it already, and all they have to do is to shake and pour. So that's how the concept, of, selling chickens came in. So I used my pocket money to buy chickens, and then I had like a chicken coop. And from, I think, a year later, I was selling eggs, But then when I started to contemplate how to, package it and then preserve the eggs in the bottles and all, that is when I got stuck, And then in the process, I failed my grade 11, the grade just before you get your matric result. So then I think when I failed my grade 11, my parents decided to put a hold on this, to say, focus on school. But that was my first venture for a year and a half.
Okay, so then your parents say, put that business to one side, concentrate on your studies. That is not a lesson that you learned, is it? Tell me what happened when you went to university.
Right, so moved to South Africa to do my post-school education, tertiary education. I already knew I was an entrepreneur at heart. I just wanted to know how to run a business. So I came to study business management. And that's how I started my second venture 2 months into university.
So you weren't learning to walk before you could run. What did you start? What business did you launch?
I was selling textbooks. So basically what happened there is 2 months into university, I remember I saw that students were actually selling their textbooks, putting posters on notice boards. Right. So I saw that an opportunity to make it easier for them. Right. So I started to take the posters off the notice boards, call the student and ask them to actually bring me their books, and I'll sell it on their behalf. Right. So that's how I started. So I took my bed sheet basically and then put it on the table in front of a library at university, took all the posters and called students to bring their books, and then I'll sell it on their behalf, and then I'll take 10% and give them 90%. So that was the first business I started. I was 2 months into university. So it was called Budget Books, so created logos and all that. And then that's how I started my second venture. I do not remember a single day where I actually went to university and just focused on going to lectures. right? Until I think the second year, I managed to get enough sales to pay a person, to sit there, and take care of the textbook sales while I'll be going to lectures.
You've launched then Budget Books, and then you found that you had a competitor as you were trying to expand.
Correct, correct. So I went to another university called UCT, right? University of Cape Town. So when I was visiting, I saw that there was another student doing the same thing, but the person already graduated, also did it when he was a student, graduated, and he had two stores. And it was called Pimp My Book. It reminded me of Pimp My Ride, and it was cool, students really were queuing there. And I'm like, I love this concept.
Hertzy, is it possible that Pimp My Book was a better name than Budget Books?
Of course, of course. Because I used to compete on price, budget books, drop the price and all that cheap. But then with him, he made it cool. I love the concept. He really made it cool, to come to a second-hand store and sell your books, and then that was really great for me. And then when I saw that, I'm like, I want to partner with him because of the brand. So we merged the two businesses in 2012 and then started to grow Pimp My Book.
And then you left Pimp My Book. What happened?
All right. So I left Pimp My Book. I did not want to, but I was kind of forced to. We started to receive serious competition, right, from online retailers, right? They were selling brand new books, at second-hand price. So competing on price was no longer an option for us, right? So I approached the board at the time and my partner at the time to say, look, guys, we need to add more value to students, right? So whenever a student buys the textbook from us, let's offer study support. Because I went on Google and Googled the failure rate at university in South Africa. I was shocked to see it was over 80%. I'm like, 80% of students do not actually make it to third year, So I decided to tackle that problem, but using our book business as a foundation. It didn't go through. It did not go through. They said, no, we are retailers. We sell books. We sell, if we have to make more money, we need to add more products in the stores, not build a tech platform that will do that. And then I remember the last meeting, they said, but Hertzy, if you've got an idea that will change the world, go do it on your own, not here.
So you left the business that you had helped grow from a tabletop outside a library to what it was. Did it feel like failure?
No, for me, I was a lot more excited because I'm always forward-looking, right? I was a lot more excited by the prospect of solving these problems. And in fact, I've always been willing to pivot. So this is what happened. When Pimp My Book did not work and I could not do it there, I built another vehicle to do it. Yeah, it was not failure.
So at that point, you're a man with a vision and not much else. What did you do?
Yeah, so the only thing I had was the vision. I wanted to create this world where, every single student is equipped to discover and achieve their purpose, right? And then I'm like, step one, I'll build a platform that will first equip them to achieve their purpose. So it means that they need to be able to complete the grades from first year to third year, have the right technology to support them, and bring all the stakeholders around this ecosystem that they build to service the student. And that's how the concept of the student hub came in.
So I've said that you were a man with a vision and not much else. What you needed to launch your vision, the student hub, was capital. You were pitching this idea to investors without actually a product to show them. Tell me about that.
Yes, because the only thing that I was a vision, right? So here's what happened. I had a friend of mine that was a designer, actually not even a designer, he was still a student, right? So I asked him to design this screenshot of basically what I had in mind, and then I was literally going and asking for funding. So my friend managed to pitch to the mother wrote us a $10,000 check. And then another friend, I went to pitch to the mother gave us another $10,000 check. So I had my $20,000 to start, right? That's what kept us going.
So that keeps you going. You start signing people up. Was it straightforward growth after that?
No. I remember 2017, right? So I started in 2015 and 2017, the product started to take shape. And then we were actually about to get our first dollar, right? From the customer. And then we tried, in the meantime, I'm also trying to raise funds from investors. And then last minute, the the fundraising did not go through. An investor pulled out last minute, and then I already had a team of 30 people on staff, and I didn't know what to do. And half of the team resigned because we were not paying salaries, And then we went 2017 from being the year where we generate our first revenue to being the year where the student app basically almost closed down, So it's reached a point where we almost closed down.
Hertzy, when you say half your team resigned, how come only half your team resigned if you weren't paying salaries? How did you keep the other half?
The other half is still here to date. They still have the student app, So what happened is I kept painting or keeping the dream alive, right? So, they had this hope that, when we finally make it, this is going to be the best company to work for, will solve the life of so many people. The vision and the mission kept them alive. So I also got very close to the core 15 at the time, right? I was buying dinner for them, Some of them, it was really, really dry, and then their kids and all, and then they were losing their houses, and it was really bad. They could not even pay the landlords. I was sleeping at the office. I did not have a place to stay. All my clothes were in the car. And at 5 a.m., before people come to the office, I had to leave. I'll go to where my sister is and shower and then come back, to work. So this is basically, that was my life, And then it was tough, but then for me, the vision was more important than what we were trying to achieve. So we kept the team going.
What happened that meant you didn't have to sleep in the office anymore?
In 2018, we managed to get a corporate investor to give us our first big check. That corporate came and wrote us a $350,000 check, right? So when they gave us a $350,000 check, that really helped us, pay some of the debt, free up capacity, hire more people, right? And then in 2019, we just saw a surge in student sign up. More people started to use the platform, and with a strong business case for investors. So I started to talk to investors in 2019, and by 2020, we had about over $3 million that we secured in funding. So that's how the company got out of the red.
And that's a very important point, isn't it? Because this series is called Million by 30, and suddenly you're seeing that multi-million dollar investment. How much of it do you think was because your business is a sound idea, and how much of it was them investing in you because you so clearly had this vision?
Well, I think it's both, right? I'll say 50-50, although whenever you speak to investors, they say, look, we don't bet on the horse, we bet on the jockey, right? So I think the quality of the person I became through the struggle, right, really attracted investors, right? The resilience, the hard work, and the ability to keep a team together, through these struggles and the challenges that we faced was quite key to investors. And I think they were kind of attracted to it because they saw in me probably a person that could take them through. So I think the vision and the mission was really important to them. And then the traction was kind of a validation that, I'm not crazy. What I'm talking about is actually a market, that's willing to pay for it. And COVID just made it even better because in COVID, we just moved to multi-million-dollar turnover. And then now the signups are just like, they keep going.
Summarize for me then where the Student Hub is now. Is it the realization of your dream, or has it got further to go?
Oh, we still have a lot to achieve, right? So we still haven't resolved the unemployment problem in South Africa and on the continent as a whole. So as long as there's this unemployment and skills mismatch, in the country and on the continent, we haven't achieved much, right? I won't say that we have achieved already the reason why, we even exist. So the student hub where we are right now, we are post-revenue definitely growing. We've got a strong student community that's growing. More and more educational institutions are building, their courses around our platform, changing their processes and systems really around our platform. More and more employers are signing up to join our opportunity portal where we match students or graduates with, employment opportunities. So the ecosystem that we have built is getting more and more mature. The traction is we're getting quite strong traction. multi-million-dollar revenue, over 200 people, and staff adding an additional 150 people within the next 6 months. So that's where we are, busy growing, solving these problems. And we do believe that within the next 2 to 3 years, will be one of the major contributor of jobs, on the continent, especially in South Africa, where we already have a large footprint.
It's quite an ambition, isn't it? I mean, you made the Forbes 30 under 30 list. They said your story is one of consistency, resilience, and persistence. How would you describe your life so far?
My life so far. Those words, I think, capture that, right? I think consistency is definitely the right word to use. I remain consistent, and I never deviated because I really know what we wanted to achieve. I remain resilient, and whenever I faced, obstacles and tough time, I just reminded myself of the reason why I'm doing what I'm doing, and then that really, I would say, is a great summary of my life, a story of resilience and consistency.
You've stared failure in the face. What's your advice to other young entrepreneurs?
I realized over the past, I would say 10 years almost, failure is actually only failure when you stop, right? So as long as you keep going, there's hope. At some point in 2017, we had nothing, like no staff member, as I said, no product, no investor, no money, nothing. Is that even a company? It's not, So if you have none of this, is that even a company? There's nothing there, right? So we had none of this, but we kept going. We kept going. And then for me, as long as you keep going, I think failure, you will never fail. Failure is when you stop pushing.
That was EdTech entrepreneur Hertzy Kabeya bringing to a close the first in our Million by 30 series on Business Daily. I'm Felicity Hannah, and this programme was produced by Helen Thomas. If you want to get in touch, find me on Twitter, it's @FelicityHannah. And for more episodes, please download our Business Daily podcasts.